maybe the reason why it seems to you that nothing ever works out for you is because you are splitting your focus between this and that, between a project that your friend told you about, between a project that your family wants you to work on. What is that one thing that you are focused on and you want to grow? Until you actually get serious about that and have one thing that you're focused on, you kind of can't expect for anything to work truly and be a monumental success. I want to welcome you all back to another episode of The Reflection Hour with your host, Sydney. So I'm thinking a lot about focus, and I'm thinking a lot about how I have had a lack of focus. I can be honest with myself about that. While I don't want to be honest with myself about that, it is the truth, okay? I have split my energy for many years, and I've said, oh, I want to do this. Then I want to do that. Then I want to do that. And it's like, what is it that you want to focus on? And what is it that you truly want to make a success? And if you look at all of the most successful people in the world, they have one thing that they're known for. And once they become known for in that area with that skill, with that craft, they then branch out, but still that craft is at the center of why they have all of their success. What are some examples of this? So the Met Gala was yesterday, which is fun. I love seeing all the outfits. A lot of times people do not follow the theme. It seems to be a recurrent theme that people don't follow the theme, which is whatever. I mean, I don't really care that much. I just think it's interesting. I think people want to look pretty. They want to be seen a certain way, but it's like they're not willing to fully commit to the theme. So whenever I see a celebrity who is fully committed to the theme and they're dressed to the nines and it's like kind of ugly, like kind of artistic, very cool, I'm into it. And one of the people that I absolutely loved in terms of their outfits last night was Emma Chamberlain. And Emma Chamberlain is a great example of someone who focused on one thing for a long time and she became successful at it. So if we break down Emma Chamberlain's success, she initially went all in on YouTube. That was her sole focus. She perfected her video style. People started copying her video style. People started copying the sounds that she would use, the effects that she would use, how she would actually edit her videos. But the thing is, she became known for that. Okay, she became known for her personality and how her personality comes through in her videos on YouTube. So her doing that got her to the place where she, I think, sits at over 12 million subscribers at this point in time. But after a certain point, she decided to focus more on her podcast, okay? But at the core of everything that she's doing, she's using her voice. She's using her creativity. And I would argue that even her YouTube channel today, while she doesn't post as normally as she or as regularly as she once did, she does post her podcast, I think like once or twice a week. And she's very current with that. And it's very much like a informal kind of chat thing. I guess maybe a little similar to what I'm doing, although my thing is my own, okay? But my point is that she went deep on one thing for a very long time. And once she found success in that, she was able to actually branch out, but she's still in a similar lane to what she was doing. She's still creating content. So I would say like her one thing is content. She knew that, and she knew that if she kept going with the content, then that's the foundation of what she needed to do. Another person, while I didn't love this person's outfit, I thought it was kind of like, blah, whatever. Beyonce. We know Beyonce based on the music, okay? The woman has done some movies. She's done some other things. But for the most part, Beyonce's not an actress. She's a musician, okay? People are sat waiting for her next album every single time. Who's another person? Drake, musician. Sure, he's acted and done this and that. But he decided after his Degrassi years that he wanted to focus on music. So everything that he's been doing has been focused on what? The music, okay? Another person, Jeff Bezos, different from the examples that I've shared, but Jeff Bezos was focused on business, okay? He was laser focused on making Amazon what it is today, once it got to that point where he could diversify his focus and hire in other people because he got it to such a level, he then started to craft things like Blue Origin and other things like that. But at the center of everything was getting Amazon to a place where he could then diversify his focus because it got to such a level of success that he could do that. And you have to think about yourself in the same way, okay? If you are not singularly focused on doing one thing for a long period of time, you can kiss success bye-bye, okay? Because it's not going to come to you if you're not focused on one main thing. Everybody who is successful has one main thing, okay? Who's that skateboarder? There's a skateboarder. I'm thinking of his name right now. Something Hawk. You know who I'm talking about. But his main thing was skateboarding, okay? All of these people had a main thing. Kobe Bryant, his main thing, basketball. Serena Williams, her main thing, tennis. Roger Federer, his main thing, tennis, okay? Simone Biles, her main thing, gymnastics. All of these people had one thing that they singularly focused on that brought them to the level of success where we know their name. The same will be the case for you. And if you think you're an outlier, if you think that, oh my gosh, I can focus on this, I can focus on that, you are not going to be successful, bro. So I actually started reading this book the other day. So I am very lucky in the sense that my dad has a very extensive library of books. And actually, one of my dreams in the future is to have an entire room that is a library. And I'm talking the style of library of a Harvard, okay? Of a Columbia, of a Cambridge. I want it to be stately. I want there to be high ceilings. I want there to be books up the ceiling, like on these beautiful shelves. Like, I see this in my head. This will be a part of my future residence at one point. And actually, before I even get into this book, I really have a desire to have a compound. Like, I've always had this desire, and I know it sounds so ostentatious and so unnecessary, but the thing is, I really enjoy my peace. I really like keeping to myself and knowing that the only energy that I can really control is my own. So if I can control who I allow access to my energy, by virtue of the fact that I'm at home and I have every single thing that I absolutely need, and I have to invite you over to come into my space, I love that. Like, I absolutely love the idea of having a compound. And one of the rooms is the library, but I also have some other rooms that I want. I want a podcast room. I want a pool. I want a gym. I want a sauna. I want a steam room. I want all of these different things at my house. And if you want to come see me, I'll invite you if I want you there. If I don't want you there, I'm not inviting you. And that's just the reality. So anyway, I'm reading this book, and it's called The One Thing. And it's by these two authors, Gary Keller and Jay Papasan. And because my dad has this extensive library, I essentially just walk into the area where there's all the books. And I'm like, okay, intuition. What is it that you would like for me to read right now? What seems like the best thing for me to focus on in terms of my reading? And I'm not going to force it. I'm going to go over by the books, and whatever title stands out to me, I'm going to pick that book and I'm going to read it. So I picked up this book, and this isn't the first time that I've read this book. I've actually read this book before. I've read a lot of books before. I just go back to them when I feel called to read them again. So yeah, The One Thing, right? So there's this quote from the book that I want to share. There's actually a lot of quotes from this book that I'm likely going to share, but this is the first one. Going small is ignoring all the things you could do and doing what you should do. It's recognizing that not all things matter equally and finding the things that matter most. It's a tighter way to connect what you do with what you want. It's realizing that extraordinary results are directly determined by how narrow you can make your focus. So the reason why I think I was drawn to this book is because I've really been grappling with the idea of, oh my gosh, do I want to become a fitness instructor again? Like, can I do that part-time and then, still do this podcast, still create content, still be doing the other things that I'm doing? And I started to read this book and I'm like, you know what? This is giving distraction zone, okay? Becoming a fitness instructor again, when I've already done it before and I already know what that's like, you have to commit to a schedule of doing a few classes each week, okay? It's not like you can bop in, yay, fun, and then bop out and do whatever you want and like be on your own schedule. No, you have to show up for class every single week. The people who are taking your class and the community that you're building are expecting that you are going to be there once a week. And if you don't want to do that because you want to be here and you want to be there and you want to focus on your podcast and you want to create content, why on earth would you become a fitness instructor when you know what it requires of you, the time commitment it requires of you? It's giving that you are, again, talking to myself here, running away from what it is that you truly want to do and convincing yourself that you're being productive. And that's essentially what I realized through picking up this book and really reflecting on, okay, like what is it that I am really trying to do here? I'm convincing myself that, oh yeah, like my voice is the main thing that I'm focused on. So my voice being the main thing means, oh, if I'm talking as a fitness instructor, that's me focused on my voice. If I'm doing this podcast and creating consistent episodes every week, that's me focusing on my voice. But it's like, no, it's not. Okay. Because if you're being a fitness instructor, you are pouring your heart and your energy and attention into being a fitness instructor. Are you not? So you're kind of not prioritizing the podcast because you're splintering your energy to do the podcast as well as to do the fitness instructor as well as to do the full-time job that you have. And it's like, you need to pick one. Like, be honest with yourself about what you truly want and what it really requires for you to get there. Maybe the one thing that you're saying is the main thing is not the truth, okay? And that's pretty much what I realized, all right? So there's another quote from this book. When one thing, the right thing, is set in motion, it can topple many things. And that's the thing. When you are working on the right thing, everything falls into place. Literally, everything falls into place. And I think oftentimes we want to lie to ourselves and we want to convince ourselves that we're doing so much because we're doing this and we're doing that and we're all over the place and we're outside and yeah. But it's like, are you doing your most important work? Are you truly moving the needle? Or are you zhuzhing your ego up? And that's what's really tea on what's going on. And if I'm going to be honest, guys, that's definitely what I was doing. Like, I don't even, like, that's definitely what I was doing. And I think we all do it. And throughout my life, when I think about the fact that it's been 6 years that I've been creating content, I have never once fully sat down and locked in to doing content. Actually, that's a lie. I did do this at one point in 2020, and that's when I found success. That's when I had that video that went viral, and then I started getting a lot of subscribers on YouTube. But why can't I look at that now? I mean, I guess now I am, right? And see that the key to that success was my focus. The key to your success is your focus. From the book again. Why does this approach work? Because extraordinary success is sequential, not simultaneous. What starts out linear becomes geometric. You do the right thing and then you do the next right thing. Over time, it adds up, and the geometric potential of success is unleashed. The domino effect applies to the big picture, like your work or your business. And it applies to the smallest moment in each day when you're trying to decide what to do next. Success builds on success. And as this happens over and over, you move toward the highest success possible. When you see someone who has a lot of knowledge, they learned it over time. When you see someone who has a lot of skills, they develop them over time. When you see someone who has done a lot, they accomplished it over time. When you see someone who has a lot of money, they earned it over time. The key is over time. Success is built sequentially. It's one thing at a time. And that's why I have to focus on one thing at a time. You have to focus on one thing at a time. Because if we're not doing that, then we're not really successful. And I love the definition that Napoleon Hill has for success. It's the progressive realization of a worthy ideal. So what is your worthy ideal? And are you progressively working towards that one ideal over time? If you are not, can you call yourself successful? Even if you're just starting out. I know that I'm a success already because I'm focused on this podcast. I have decided that this is going to get all of my attention and everything else is feeding into that. Whether it's me making TikToks, whether it's me posting on Instagram, whether it's me posting anywhere. I know that at the center of my focus is this podcast. Why? Because I have done many things throughout my life. I've done the pure YouTube play. I've done the whole focus on TikTok play. I've done the whole, I want to be a startup founder play. I've done the whole, I want to follow this career path play. And I've realized through those experiences that this is the thing that I like the most. This is the thing that comes the most naturally to me. And this is the thing where I have been building a skill set in over the years. I mean, I think in a lot of ways, I definitely downplay myself and I don't necessarily realize my own strengths because how the hell can I get on here and speak at length to myself for over 30 minutes twice a week? How the hell can I do that? You know, and that's a skill set that I have been cultivating for the past few years. And you're able to cultivate that skill set when you continually show up. Even if I wasn't posting a podcast episode in my notes app, in my voice notes app, you will see that I have multiple voice notes of me talking to myself at length, trying to process what's going on in my head, what's going on in my reality. And I'm very grateful for that because I honestly didn't know why I was doing it. Do you ever go through your life and you're like, why the fuck am I even interested in that? Like, why am I interested in that person? Why am I interested in that thing? Like, what is going on here? I don't know why, but I just keep doing it. And that's how I feel about myself. And it's like, why wouldn't you do the thing that feels easy for you to do? Why are you trying to make your life harder than it needs to be? And this is what I've been doing. I have been making my life way harder than it needs to be because I guess I think that we are largely socialized to bond over negativity, to bond over the fact that, like, quote unquote, life sucks. And oh my God, they're the reason why I'm not where I want to be. No, you're the reason why you're not where you want to be because you won't focus on one thing and go all in on it. Maybe if you focus on one thing and you went all in on it, you would see that your life would get better. And I think sometimes we self-sabotage when we start to see that things are going well because there's some subconscious blocks that we have where we feel like we're not worthy of it. And this happens when it comes to careers. It happens when it comes to relationships with people. We believe, due to what we witnessed as children, the programming that we received as children from our parents, from our environment, that life is supposed to be a certain way. But it's like you can literally make up your own rules, like I was talking about in the previous episode, and decide that actually this is how things go for me. I don't really give a fuck what you're doing, but I know what the fuck I'm doing. And what I'm doing is what's important to me. And what's important to me, I'm going to take a stab at every single day. And I don't care how long it takes because I enjoy the journey. You have to enjoy the journey. If you don't enjoy the journey, what's the point of what you're doing? There's no point. And when I reflect back on when I was super into becoming a startup founder, I was trying to force myself to enjoy that journey. But in all honesty, I don't enjoy it. I have an interest in tech. I really love tech. I think it's really cool. But do I really want to learn how to code? Do I really want to be sitting on my computer coding it up, making products like that all day long? I don't. I would rather be talking. Okay? I would rather be like making music. I'd rather be creating a video. Like, I'd rather be doing shit like that, because that's the stuff that actually gets me going. That's the stuff I actually like. So take stock of who you actually are and not who you think you should be based on what other people are telling you. And do the thing that you get lost in, that's fun for you, that you don't necessarily have to force yourself to do. If you have to force yourself to do something, that's no life that you should be living. Like, who wants to force themselves to live life? Like, that actually sounds horrible. And that's how I was living. I was literally forcing myself to do things, forcing myself to be a certain way. But it's like, why? Like, who am I doing this for? If it's not for myself, why am I doing it? And I'll say another important thing. When it comes to the one thing, you have to be your one thing. Like, stop focusing on other people. It's so easy to get caught up in other people and their bullshit, but it's like, that doesn't really matter at all when it comes to your life. And ultimately, I do believe that every person is us pushed out. So the relationship that you have with another person is reflecting back to you something about your relationship with yourself. So if it feels like people are avoiding you, they don't want to get too close to you, blah, 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 it's because on some level, you don't want people to get that close to you. You are an avoidant. You are distrustful of yourself. So you don't trust people getting close to you because you don't want to lose yourself. But it's like, you're not going to lose yourself if you truly know yourself. You can actually trust yourself when you know yourself, and you can have these experiences, and you can know that you're always going to learn something. You're always going to come out a better person. And isn't that great? And that's how I've been approaching a lot of my relationships lately, actually. Like, I have one best friend who I fucking love. Shout outs to you, Bella. And it's so nice because I remember feeling like I had to show up a certain way in order for people to like me. But the thing is, if you're feeling that way, then you're not truly being yourself, because you're overanalyzing the situation entirely too much, when instead you should be being present in that situation and seeing whether or not the people align with you. If they align with you, great, amazing. If they don't align with you, great, amazing. Why? Because it's better to figure out who your people are based on the authentic energy that you're operating in, as opposed to trying to get people to like you to fit in with people who, let's be honest, why are you trying to fit in with other people? Why? Why do you care what they think of you? It shouldn't matter, okay? And this is the thing that I think is so freeing about me doing this podcast now. I genuinely don't give a fuck. Like, I did for a very long time. And I'm sure there's still remnants of that I'll be dealing with as this podcast grows. But for the most part, I have a very strong foundation in myself, which has taken so long for me to get to. Not only that, I still do so much work every single day to be grounded, whether that's me exercising, or me spending time by myself to recharge, or me doing different journal prompts to uncover my limiting beliefs, or me listening to subliminals at night, or me just journaling in general, or doing this podcast. I do so many things to ensure that I'm always okay, so that I don't project my own shit onto other people, because I genuinely don't think that's cool. So many people seem to walk around and they are feeling bad and they want everybody to know that they're feeling bad. And it's like, I'm sorry. That is not good spiritual hygiene, because why is it my problem that you're not feeling well? And this is why I don't like to be in community with too many people, because I think a lot of people just bring drama. Like, you're bringing all of your shit that I didn't ask for into my life. You're bringing all of the feelings that you have about these different people that I don't even fucking know into my life. Please get away from me. Get away from me. Please get away from me. I don't want you anywhere near me. Because unless you can protect yourself spiritually and all that and you're not prone to drama because you're not doing all this shit, like, please get the fuck away from me. I don't want you in my life, bro. Like, some people are too mixy for me. And I'm mixy to a point. I definitely feel as though I know a bunch of people and like people know who I am, but I honestly don't even care if you know me. Like, I don't even care if I know you. Like, if I see you, I'm going to say hi, but for the most part, like, I don't really care. I'm not looking to be up your ass. I don't really care about you as much as I care about me. And I think that's how we should all be. Maybe you agree, maybe you disagree. I kind of don't really care at all. All I know is that this is my life, okay? I'm the main character of my life. You should be the main character of your life. And if you're excessively talking about other people who are not you, like, get a fucking grip. What are you doing? Like, what are you doing? Why does what this other person is doing matter in your life? Okay? Even if it was your partner, like, I want you to be obsessed with me. I'm not like obsessed with you, bro. I'm like doing my own shit. Like, I don't care. I support you just like I support my friends. I love my friend. I love my family. But at the end of the day, I love me more. So if I have to sacrifice myself and my dreams for other people, it's not happening. I'm going to have to sacrifice you because I'm the person who has to live with myself every single day. And I want to love that person on the other side of the mirror. And if I don't love that person on the other side of the mirror, that is my fault. I'm taking responsibility for that. So yeah, you have to just remember that, again, you have to be your one thing. And when you are your one thing, then you can develop what that craft is that is your one thing that you're going to be focused on. And that's just literally the truth. And you can believe me. You cannot believe me. I don't care. Okay? I really don't care at all. And you shouldn't care at all either. Like, you shouldn't. So another quote from this book, right? Pareto points us in a very clear direction. The majority of what you want will come from the minority of what you do. Extraordinary results are disproportionately created by fewer actions than most realize. And if you know anything about the Pareto principle, it essentially says that 80% of your results come from 20% of your actions. So a lot of people are of the mindset that you have to do so much in order to be successful, but it's like, no, you have to do one thing and hammer in on it till the cows come home so that you can become very successful at it. You want depth, not breadth. Because if you have breadth across a bunch of different things, you're not a specialist. You're not known for doing one thing. Versus the person who is a specialist, you can't replace that person because they are a specialist. They know how to do this one thing really, really well. And when you're looking for someone who knows how to do that thing really, really well, who are you going to call? You're going to call the person who is very good at that one specific thing. Okay? So here is another quote from this book. Pareto proves everything I'm telling you, but there's a catch. He doesn't go far enough. I want you to go further. I want you to take Pareto's principle to an extreme. I want you to go small by identifying that 20%, and then I want you to go even smaller by finding the vital few of the vital few. The 80-20 rule is the first word, but not the last, about success. What Pareto started, you've got to finish. Success requires that you follow the 80-20 principle, but you don't have to stop there. Keep going. You can actually take 20% of the 20% of the 20% and continue until you get to the single most important thing. No matter the task, mission, or goal, big or small, start with as large a list as you want, but develop the mindset that you will not whittle your way from there to the critical few and not stop until you end with the essential one, the imperative one, the one thing. So I think this is fascinating. I absolutely love it because I honestly don't really like to multitask. Like, whenever I try to multitask, it doesn't feel right. Okay. It feels like, yeah, I'm trying to convince myself that I'm making strides, but am I really making strides? I don't really think I'm making as many strides as I would like to imagine that I am. And then it's kind of disheartening because you're really not bought into one thing. And I just think it's better to be fully bought into one thing, whether it's you're in a relationship and you're fully bought into one person, or it's a career path and you're fully bought into that career path. And honestly, in a sense, I don't even know if it's about a career path. I think it's more of a craft. I would rather be bought in fully to one craft and getting better at that every single day than trying to predict a career path and say that it's going to go like this or like that. And I think that's one of the things that I've honestly been struggling with, is that I've been trying to identify a career path for myself, but there's really no path because I'm creating it as I go. And when I focus on the craft itself, the skill set that I'm cultivating, as opposed to the path that I think I'm creating, that I don't really know that I'm creating because I'm walking blind in the woods and I only see the next 10 feet in front of me, it makes it way easier to prioritize what you're going to work on. And it enables you to really enjoy the journey because you're like, all right, I'm just going to get really good at this thing. I'm going to work on this thing. I'm going to really just focus on this thing. And whatever happens with this thing, I enjoy doing it. So that's it. That's it. Okay. So this quote kind of talks a little bit about the dangers of multitasking, this next series of quotes, right? You can do two things at once, but you can't focus effectively on two things at once. We're right when we say something is front and center or top of mind because that's where focus occurs, in the prefrontal cortex. When you focus, it's like shining a spotlight on what matters. You can actually give attention to two things, but that is what's called divided attention. And make no mistake, take on two things and your attention gets divided. Take on a third and something gets dropped. The problem of trying to focus on two things at once shows up when one task demands more attention or if it crosses into a channel already in use. When your spouse is describing the way the living room furniture has been rearranged, you engage your visual cortex to see it in your mind's eye. If you happen to be driving at that moment, this channel interference means you are now seeing the new sofa and love seat combination and are effectively blind to the car braking in front of you. You simply can't effectively focus on two important things at the same time. Every time we try to do two or more things at once, we're simply dividing up our focus and dumbing down all of the outcomes in the process. So this is again why I can see how when I was creating content before and I created a podcast and I had a newsletter and I had a YouTube channel, but then I also really wanted to be active on TikTok. That was too many things that I was focused on. Okay. And none of them really took off with anything because I had no focus. The only time that I saw real success was when I was singularly focused on YouTube. And like I mentioned earlier, that had some success to it, right? But then I got to a certain point, I diverted my focus, I wanted to do this, I wanted to do that. And how often do we see this in the public eye even? Someone becomes popular for one thing, and then they start putting their hands in a bunch of different things. And then it seems like all of the special sauce that they had evaporates or disappears because they're not known for anything specific anymore. They're just like all the other people who are trying to spread their brand way too thin and be associated with all the things that are trending. It's like now you have no real foundation. You lost it. You're fickle. And I'm just really happy that through my different experiences, I've really been able to figure out what it is that I want to focus on. And I do think that's the value in trying a bunch of different things, is through that trial and error process, you discover what it is that you truly love, and it helps you to focus, honestly. So whether or not you're in that period of your life right now where You don't necessarily know what you want to focus on. You've tried a bunch of different things. You're still trying to find your thing. Just know through that process, you will discover what it is that you really like. And a person that I think about right now is Sarah Blakely, who created Spanx, and how essentially she was trying to figure out what her business idea was going to be. And she literally had no idea, but she knew that she wanted to create a business that would help people. And she just kept trying a bunch of different things. I think at one point she was selling printers or something. And then through that experience and other experiences, she landed on the idea for Spanx. And once she landed on that idea, she went all in on that thing. And I mean, we know Sarah Blakely today because of Spanx, right? So that is truly the value in being open to the fact that maybe you don't know what your one thing is right now, but if you keep trying different things and you keep putting yourself out there, you will eventually get to a place where you're like, no, I love this thing. I'm locking in on this thing. That's it. And that's literally how relationships work too, right? You maybe you're like, I don't really care about anyone. But then you meet that one person. You're like, you know what? Actually, I'm locking in on this one right here. So in all aspects of life, you have to focus on one thing. In relationships, in business, in your health, you have to focus on one thing. And you can convince yourself that by diverting your focus, you're leveraging your time and you're being able to, or you are able to do so much because you are doing a little bit of this, a little bit of that. But if we actually look at your results, you're probably not as productive as you think that you are. Like, you're definitely not as productive as you think you are. You think that it's doing something for you, but you just don't seem that focused. Okay, so actually there's this quote from the book. Bounce between one activity and another, and you lose time as your brain reorients to the new task. Those milliseconds add up. Researchers estimate we lose 28% of an average workday to multitasking effectiveness. How insane is that? Right? And there's a point in the book where they actually say, like, what if you draw that out the rest of your life? How much time are you losing in your life if you're losing 28% a day to multitasking? That's a lot you could do with your time, with your legacy, if you were to just focus on one thing. If it's that you really like dentistry, you should focus on dentistry. Why are you trying to focus on other things? If you really like cooking, you should focus on cooking. Why would you focus on other things? Like, get really good at that thing and your world will open up. Focus is truly the key to the life that we all want, but we have just been sold a lie that we can do multiple things at once, but you can't do multiple things well at once. Let's talk about that. So the one thing, what is that one thing that you want to consistently focus on? What is that one thing that you can get lost in and time just goes out the window because you're having such a great time? That's what you should focus on. Who are the people in your life where you can spend hours at a time with them and it feels like you're just in a trance? Those are the people who should be in your life. And if you're not focused and you're not going small and doing the things that really matter most to you, you can't really expect for your life to go in the direction that you truly want, because you can't make the decision of what it is that matters to you. So, if you like this episode, like, comment, subscribe, maybe share it with a friend, and I will see you all in the next one. Bye!